Pretty sure we are live. I'm Johnny. That's the Greg. And before we remotely try to introduce this awesome guy, Greg's going to let you know about our partnership with Audible.
That's right. We are partnered with Audible. They've got hundreds of thousands of audiobooks that you can find from our guests are on that site. I believe they're all there last time I checked. If you would like to get 30 days of Audible for free on us, you can go to audibletrial.com/JATG. And like I said, hundreds of thousands of titles, maybe in the millions by now, and podcasts and educational stuff of every genre that you could ever ask for. And 30 days free on us for audibletrial.com/JATG.
With us again, the return, Matthew Reilly, best-selling action adventure author, from the likes of This Is My Favorite Book, Seven Deadly Wonders. This is the one that I first read that got me hooked into it, Ice Station. I have a ton more. I just don't feel like bringing the whole library over here. Matt, thank you for joining us again. So excited to talk to you. How you been?
Mate, I've been busy. I'm well. Yeah. I've been very busy. We released The One Impossible Labyrinth late last year. I finished and delivered my movie Interceptor to Netflix 8 days ago.
Delivered it.
Oh, wow.
Like you just said, here it is, guys.
There is a point where you can't work on the movie anymore. So you have all your video done, you have all your audio done. You bolt the two of them together, and then you say it's finished.
It's finished.
Is that like kind of like handing off a child, or is that kind of like we're done, we did it, okay?
You know, you zero in towards it. You know that delivery date is coming. It's funny with a movie, if you had an unlimited budget and unlimited time, I think you could just tinker and tinker forever. It's good to have an end date.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very satisfied. I didn't compromise. I have no regrets. Anything I didn't know, or I asked for. And so Interceptor it's the movie I wanted to make.
Wow. Okay.
Fantastic.
So let's rewind a little bit for our viewers. Matt was on our show recently, and we put it back 2 weeks ago on our first talk with Matt, and he caught my attention with his action adventure, white knuckling, fast paced books. And Matt, I believe you couldn't tell us that you were directing a movie or that things were setting up like that until like things were signed, I'm assuming. So this was your first ever attempt at directing a movie. Did you you wrote it as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, Matt, you've been busy. So walk us through that. Like how is it? I'm sure it's incredibly different, but how different was it from writing a book?
Oh, it's extraordinarily different. Everybody who knows me knows I love movies. I've always wanted to make movies. I've had many false starts selling the books to Hollywood studios. I sold Ice Station to Paramount. It must have been 2001. And
I remember reading about it. Yeah.
Disney got Hovercar Racer. Warner Brothers have the tournament now for a television show. But, you know, you still have to wait for a screenplay to be done. And so I wrote Interceptor to direct. And it's largely set in the one place, which keeps it contained. And the premise is the bad guys steal 16 Russian nuclear missiles and they fire them at 16 American cities. And our heroine is stationed at an interceptor missile facility in the middle of the Pacific. And she's going to have to shoot them down while more bad guys are trying to kill her. So it takes about 6 seconds before you see blood in the movie. It's just what you would expect. Anyone who's read the books, Ice Station or Seven Wonders or Great Zoo of China, they're going to get that in a movie. It is just bonkers fast, crazy in its pace. It's got some very inventive deaths. We kicked it off at the start of 2021. And I spent the last 14 months filming it, then doing hundreds of VFX shots and then delivering it.
Wow. So there's so your I guess you could say your movie star is Elsa. I'm gonna butcher her last name. It's
Elsa
Elsa
Pataki.
Pateki. Yes, yes. Who, if you guys don't know her, her fame is the Fast Furious novel movies. She was Vin Diesel's the cop that was chasing Vin Diesel, and she kind of fell in love with him.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So that was her claim to fame. She's also married to some guy that's some people might know him, some people might not. I'm not sure. But he happens to be Thor. So
Yeah.
she's married to Chris Hemsworth. So what was it like working with her?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. She took 10 years out of the movie business, out of acting, to raise their 3 kids.
Oh, very cool. I didn't know that.
She was looking for a female-driven action movie, and along came Interceptor. It came to her manager, and he said, "This is exactly what she's looking for." She's gorgeous, but she got Linda Hamilton fit.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Just got the guns going, shoulders. She did fight training for months, and hardworking, brilliant actress.
I did see one promo shot of her, and it looks like I'm looking at it now. She's doing like a pretty like head high roundhouse kick, and the form is perfect. Yeah, it's just like one of those. She looks like an action star in that shot. Just really, really nailed it.
She is. She's an action star.
Yeah,
and it's just magnificent. And yeah, she did so much of her own fighting. Occasionally, we had to bring in the stunt double, who was amazing herself, Hayley Wright. But no, Elsa was this. The things I put this poor woman through in this movie. She got her hands dirty. You know, I would get on the set and I'd say, "Okay, you're going to be rolling around," and I'd be rolling around and somersaulting, and the whole crew would be looking at me like I'm an idiot. But you know, she got into that, and I can't see anybody else in the role now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So it was a good working relationship, which is always important. Yeah. When you were choreographing fight scenes, Greg and I tend to be like, we feel like we're action scene connoisseurs. Like we know what we like to see versus what we don't, and what we don't like to see. And I hope you don't have this. I could be putting foot right in my mouth. Is the Jason Bourne when you're up close and you're just doing this in the shaky camera, and we hate that. So please, Matt, tell us it's not a shaky camera.
No, this is it's not. It's
awesome.
In actual fact, this was a discussion I had with Ingrid Kleinig, who was our stunt coordinator.
Okay.
And we specifically said we're not going to do that.
Very cool.
That what you do when you film a fight, you try to sort of, you know, paste over your mistakes by quick cutting. You shake the camera and you cut fast. What we endeavored to do is we actually looked at the first Bourne movie more so than the second two.
Yeah.
And Casino Royale.
That's a good one.
With Daniel Craig, which will often have the first 2 blows of a fight before the first cut.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are deliberately setting up the fight in the first shot rather than cross-cutting. And basically, it all comes down to preparation. Mm-hmm. We had a medium level budget, so we had to do this fast. And so we prepared, but yeah, no, we didn't want to do that. That was actually a specific conversation.
And I've, read, Asian-based fight choreographers, like they talk about the storytelling that can happen through a fight. Mm-hmm. That it's not just the fight for fighting's sake. Like there's you integrate that into the character, you integrate that into the story, and that's what I find the most beautiful fight scenes come out of is when the director, the storyteller, and like the fight choreographer have that kind of communication, and they really can develop that as it goes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And in the key component in Interceptor is that Elsa's character is in this reinforced command center, and the bad guys need to take it. And so every fight has a goal, and the goal on some of the early fights is she has to stop them getting to the button that opens the door. And so you have a specific goal. And I won't spoil other ones because we have fights where there are more than one goal. She has to defend something, and she also has to do something. And so, yeah, there's a little story within each fight.
Awesome. Glad to hear. It sounds like you, not that I wouldn't have any, not that you wouldn't have any idea, but have you tinkered with directing before, and cameras and how editing works and how like lighting and sound and all these things that I probably haven't even thought of? Have you tinkered with that? Have you asked?
No, I not professionally.
Okay.
I made short films when I was at university. I made a little horror film, just with my friends and video camera and crappy sound. I did make a 26-minute action film with a video camera, with music, and even a very small little car chase, which was based on an obscure Michael Crichton book called Binary. It's not very good, but I am versed in what it takes to get a shot and cut it all together and put music to it. Fortunately for me, I've been tinkering at the edges of Hollywood for a while. So Stuart Beattie jumped in and he touched up a screenplay with me, brought in some producers who had done one of his early films, Tomorrow When the War Began. And then they put me in the hands of just some tremendous people. And you ask, how is it different to a novel? With a novel, it's just me. With a movie, I'm with all these great creative people, and you just unleash them. And if they love the action movies you love, it works pretty well. And that's what happened with this movie.
Was that difficult for you at first to go from a guy that this is all you, right, to now it's everybody is involved and everybody is an expert in each, with the fight choreography and or the actor or actress saying, yeah, I don't think they would do that. I think they would do this.
Yeah, no. So that's a very good example. When an actor says, I don't think the character would do this. I do know stories on sets where directors get upset with actors who do that because you're on a tight schedule, you got to get it done, and the actor's going, this is not what the character would do.
Right.
I took the opposite tack. I said to Elsa and to each of my leads, I said, listen, I wrote the character, and then with Stu Beattie, we wrote the characters, but they're going to become yours. And there will come a time where you'll know the character better than I do. And you'll say to me, this is not what the character would say, this is not what they would do. And I said, I will then defer to you. And strangely enough, actors really like that when you let them. And I found they were very surprised. I think there's been many a tyrant.
I was going to say, you're probably going to, hopefully this podcast gets out and everybody hears about what a great director you are and that you're willing to have this collaborative environment. Because you're right. Absolutely. You hear about directors, and I'm not going to name who I've read this about, but this is my story. This is the way it goes. You work for me kind of thing.
Yeah.
And as opposed to hey, we're all making an action movie here. If you're all on the same page creatively, that can create some great stuff.
Yeah. And you enjoy it. It actually becomes an enjoyable set. And
what a novel idea.
Yeah. I mean, remember, you're making a movie too. It's good. It's a fun thing that not many people get to do.
But absolutely.
Your actors, I honestly believe, especially when you get actors who are at this level, they bring something. And remember, you're the person who hired them. So you did interview them beforehand, and you got a gauge of what kind of person they were. And so,
when you say they bring something with, what do you exactly, can you give me an example?
Oh, well, Elsa had certain ways she wanted to have a certain confidence to her character. Luke Bracey, who plays the villain of the movie, he's an actor who he likes to adjust the lines to the way he speaks.
Okay.
And I said to him, if there's a plot element in your line, I need you to convey that. But otherwise, say whatever you want. Adjust the line however you like. If you're like me and you're a fan of Die Hard, and put my Nakatomi Tower there.
Nice.
If you watch Die Hard while reading the script, John McTiernan let the actors adjust the lines however they wanted. As long as they conveyed the elements of the plot, it didn't matter. And I did a lot of learning listening to audio commentaries from John McTiernan's incredibly generous. Ridley Scott is incredibly generous in their commentaries. A lot of the Marvel movies have great commentaries, but McTiernan was a big believer in that. Let the actors say the line however they want, but if there's plot that has to be said, you got to tell them that. So yeah. And then they just come up with stuff that you couldn't come up with, and that's great. And that's where a novel is a lot of hard work by me. But in a movie, you unleash them. If they go too far, then you just
rein it back in,
and then they find out that they've gone too far.
Are you your directing style? Were you a little more fast paced, where it's like, we do we're gonna run through it and then we're gonna get a couple shots and then we're moving on? Or were you more the 10, 15 takes, we're gonna
100 takes? Stanley Kubrick.
Did you try to limit yourself, or was it, as a first-time director, I'm curious, like, how did you find your pace and things like that?
Yeah, no, I found my pace because I had 33 days of shooting.
Yeah, I suppose.
So
yeah,
you have to get it done. I basically had on average 3 takes.
Okay.
That's what I had. And as a general rule, my actors were incredibly well prepared. Elsa and Luke, I could count on one hand the amount of times Elsa got a line wrong. What you would get is often the first take was often great. Second take, they usually nail it. And then I would say for the third take, do whatever you want. Give me something different. And then they could try something, and often it worked and sometimes it didn't. And then we moved on. And what actors really like is they like it when they know if they get it, you get it and move on. They don't want you doing 15 takes, and they're looking to get your approval, and they're waiting for you to say, okay, that's good. You say this and this is what I'm after. For something like Interceptor, you need the lines done, boom, 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 really fast, and get it right the first time, nail it the second time, one for the actors on the third time, and then move on. So it was quick. There were some days I had to do 6 pages in a day, which is a lot.
Is that a lot? I would think I know, but I really don't. So I've heard that you have a little book that you have with all these directive like ideas or notes or quotes that what's the best advice you got from that book? What's the best thing you pulled from that book to apply to Interceptor?
It's a shame I don't have it here in my office. It's upstairs. The best bit I had is I wrote it on the front cover of the little notebook. And it says, cast is protected, crew is respected.
Okay. What does that mean?
So you have to give your actors an absolutely safe space to create and become these characters. You can't let the crew giggle or snigger. Remember, when you're making an action movie, you've got people holding guns going, pew, 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 pew. We did not use blanks. We did digital guns, digital muzzle flash, digital audio.
Safety first.
You need to provide a very safe environment for your actors, so you protect the cast. But the crew, again, sometimes crews can be treated very poorly, and so I say please, I say thank you. I point out the crew members who are working incredibly hard, and so you've got to respect the crew. Maybe the crew aren't being paid as much as the actors, and so you have to ensure that the crew are also respected. And that's what I wrote on the front page. The little notebook I filled it up, so I sticky taped a second notebook to it. Ridley Scott, if you cast your movie correctly, 80% of your problems disappear. I think that's absolutely true. Everything looks better with blowtorch sparks in front of it.
Who told you that one?
No, I forget where that one was.
The one you were talking about casting, like you said, like safety for the cast and then a respect for the crew. Who told you that? Or where'd you get that from? Do you know?
I think I got that from a book called Directing Actors.
Okay.
I think that's where that came from. I'm not sure.
Did you read a book on how to direct actors?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Like, I don't think a lot of people would do that. Greg, my partner here, is the one that actually showed me that maybe you need to pick up a book to get better at something and like read it. Like, I'm a new dad. I'm 3 years in. So I rely on him a lot. And he's like, there's a great book that you should read. I'm like, okay, I'll have to read it. It's not Matthew Reilly, but I guess I'll read this.
It is. Yeah. As soon as he announced to me that they were pregnant, I immediately went on Amazon and as a pregnancy gift sent him two books. One, What to Do When She's Pregnant, and the other one is called Be Prepared. New Guide for Fathers. It's written like the Cub Scout manual, and it's great.
That's being a good friend.
Yes.
But also something I said, I used to say about the books as well, that people tell you to learn from your mistakes, but it's best to learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's right. When you're a new parent, or maybe you want to train a dog. I remember buying a dog training book when I got a puppy, 18 years ago. You're not the first person to go through this, and I'm not the first person to direct actors. And so there was a buddy of mine, John Rogers, who created the TV show Leverage and directed a bunch of those episodes.
Very good show. Yeah.
And he was the one who said, get this book, Directing Actors. And
awesome.
That's where a lot of that wisdom came from.
I just love the humanity or the humility, John. Sorry, I'm John. You're Matt. The humility that you have or the humbleness that you're like, I don't know any of this. I'm going to read a book, get some more knowledge, move forward with it. And I think that's great because I don't think a lot of people do that unless I'm wrong. A lot of people do that.
Actually, I got to tell you that I got a couple of books. I got a couple of books that I went. I live here in West Hollywood in LA.
Yep.
And there used to be this sort of movie bookstore over in Burbank. I don't know if it's still there. And I went there and I was looking for books on directing. And I found this book and it was called something like, First Time Director. And I remember taking it to the counter and the dude behind the counter, looking really too cool for school and probably writing his screenplay on the computer he had up there. He looks at the book, looks at me, and then just does this careless, okay. And I give him my credit card. And it was the most condescending shrug I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
And I hope my movie just goes massive and I can do Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman and go back to that store.
Back to that place.
Hey, dude, I got First Time Director and that book was good.
And here's my Oscar to prove it.
There you go.
I
was going to talk about what I've heard about, just being a director and especially being a first-time director, the idea of, like you said, you had a 30-day or just 33, I think you said 33-day shooting schedule. So you had your crew or like your shooting crew and your actors for 33 days and then they go home. And here you are with like, when was this shot versus like, when are we going to see it? You live this for much longer. I mean, this is, like I said, your child for a long time. And that's something people forget about with directors is like, it's not a 30-day project for them. It's oftentimes a 2-year plus project for them.
That's exactly right. We finished shooting on May 15 last year. Now it's March 22. Yeah. So there was 9 more months. We did get we extended it by about 3 months. So it probably would have been another 6 months. But obviously with nuclear missiles and interceptor missiles, I've got a fair bit of visual effects, computer graphics, which was always going to take 6 months. But I don't think I'm giving anything away saying this. Obviously, Netflix tested the movie, an early cut of the movie, and it tested really, really well.
Yes, awesome, good.
And so they gave us a lot more latitude and a little more time because when your movie at an early cut tests well, and they goes out to several hundred ordinary Americans over a weekend, they can watch it.
I didn't get it, Matthew. I'm a little upset. They don't know I'm one of your fans.
No, you don't want to see that one, Johnny, because you can see all the ropes and cables and the temporary visual effects. You want to see the final one. And
with all of that, they loved it, huh?
They did. The scores
awesome.
were great. And so Netflix were like, okay, take your time, get it right. And so yeah, you do this helter-skelter shoot, and then there's still 9 months, and I'm on it every day. So overall, we're looking. Hopefully, yeah, it's a good 14 to 18 month commitment for the director. But yeah, sometimes 30 days for some people, sometimes 4 months for others.
We've mentioned Netflix here a couple of times. I'm still amazed that in my lifetime, I've seen the rise of just a massive Hollywood movie company now that started as, delivering DVDs by mail to now, controlling, a ton of content that's coming out in entertainment. And that to me is like, wow, we've come so far.
I'm really happy to have landed at Netflix, because the studio system, or where the studio system was and is going, is old franchises. And I had a painful moment at a movie cinema a few months ago where I looked at the posters, and the posters were Ghostbusters, Top Gun, previously Star Wars and
Matrix.
Matrix. That was Matrix. It was 80s and 90s franchises.
Yep.
And Netflix, to their eternal credit, are making original movies.
Yeah, they are.
They're not sequels. They're not 80s reboots, which if you're at Disney, they want you to do Marvel or Star Wars. And if Marvel gave me a call, hey, I'd be the first one to do it.
Who would you do? What would you do? What would you do?
There's a character I like, which I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, okay. Can you tell us offline?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe when this is over.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're at Disney, they want Star Wars, Marvel. Yep. If you're at Paramount, SpongeBob and Top Gun now, and it's and again to see Sony go back to Ghostbusters again. At least Netflix, I want to tell new original stories. I'd love to attack, if this one flies, attack some of the books, Ice Station, especially Ice Station. And Netflix is the place to do that. And yeah, they've literally come along at the right time for me. I love it.
That's awesome.
We've talked about that, how there's just not enough original IPs out there right now in the land of film. And I mean, you mentioned Ghostbusters twice. One, I absolutely love what Reitman did, but it is a bit of a rehash. I mean, going into that, and luckily we knew that going in, but even the Marvel stuff, it's their cast of characters. It's their, thousands of characters they have. It's pick one, write a good story about it. Yeah. It's all pre-existing. Like my kids can still go on the internet, search. I think Morbius is the next movie coming out from Marvel. They can get the entire history of Morbius, and then there's not that discovery piece left in like getting to know a character and having that kind of fun with it, which is unfortunate. But you're right, Netflix to a point. Hulu, I mean, they've got some new stuff out there that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to any new action property that comes out. I'm like, oh, all right, what are we doing?
Well, you guys are probably like me, children of the 80s.
And
the 80s is, there are many things wrong with the 80s, but the 80s were movie-wise, what a period.
Oh my gosh.
Original movies.
Yeah.
From the start of the 80s of Raiders of the Lost Ark and Blade Runner, moving through Back to the Future and Die Hard, Hunt for Red October, even the original Predator. Getting into Total Recall in the early 90s. these were original movies.
Yeah.
And that's why it was such, I mean, maybe it was because suddenly there was money to make these movies. Aliens, don't get me wrong. Don't forget Aliens.
Yeah.
Well, coming from the original Ridley Scott movie. So I think Netflix is a place where we can do that again.
Yeah. Hope so, because you're right. Like the Matrix, the new one that came out, and this is just my personal opinion, Matt, you do not have to give yours. I thought it was just a nostalgia. They just tried to throw nostalgia at you, and that's all that was to it. And it wasn't, there was no depth, there was no continuation. There was like, oh, okay, you're just throwing it. I feel like they failed that with the last 3 Star Wars movies. It was just a nostalgia throw. You know?
And I feel like, as we're all like children of the 80s and we're all movie fans and whatnot, we have this this tendency for like self-deception, where we're watching a new Star Wars film or we're watching the new Matrix film, and God, please leave Back to the Future alone. But if that were to come out and we were to go see it, it's like through the whole movie, we're like, no, it's good. It's good. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. And to the point where it's like 48 hours later, people ask, what'd you think of the movie? And you're like, it was okay. No, I liked it, I think. And then you come to the realization later, you're like, nah, I really didn't like it.
That was Matt. What he just explained was me for 2 years after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
That was 2 years of me going, no, it was good. It was really good. You know, and it wasn't the first 3. It just wasn't.
I had it where I went and saw The Last Jedi on opening night at the Chinese theater here in LA, and
oh, cool.
And the crowd obviously wanted to love it, and they whooped and they cheered, and the group of people I was with when we walked out, they were going, "Wow, that was unreal!" And I looked at them and I said, "That was awful. Am I the only one who thinks this was garbage?" And slowly over the next 2 years, as the world realized this was, all those people who went with, oh yeah, it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And I still remember they drank the Kool-Aid. They didn't drink the Kool-Aid. They wanted it. And
you wanted it so bad.
The heart wants that we just
and the heart wants it. And that Last Jedi, I mean, gosh, I love going to YouTube and watching these, YouTube video essays on movies, and the ones on Last Jedi are hilarious.
Oh yes, they're fantastic. You're right. Hey, did you ever see the one where they extended the scene from Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting Darth Vader in A New Hope at the Death Star? Somebody, Greg, you sent this to me.
Are you talking about? Yeah, I think it's a fight choreography group. Yes. They reshot it.
Yeah,
doing more of that kinetic Jedi fight style that we got in the episodes 1, 2, and 3, and they would intercut, the original footage with their new footage, and it looked phenomenal.
Oh, it's fantastic, Matt. I will send it to you through an email. It was awesome. Yeah.
Well, and you're talking about like when people on YouTube get a hold of this stuff. I love seeing what like either amateur editors or sometimes I think they're professional editors, they like recut things together. And the scene in The Last Jedi where Rey and Palpatine are like force battling it out, and then they changed the music cues to the original score, and then they put in the force ghosts of all the Jedi that came before, and so you see Alec Guinness and Yoda and Luke and I think Windu was in there, and young Anakin. I mean, you just have this host of Jedi's past, and their Force ghosts are like standing with her. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it because it was such a powerful thing. I'm like, now why didn't they do that? Why didn't they? They had all the rights to all their likenesses. They could have done that. So things like that, and that's what we're like. Well, the movie was crap, but there's some creative people out there that do amazing things with it, and we are totally off track.
Yeah, we went off track.
Sorry. I love it. I love it.
This is the world we're in now.
Yeah.
And, you can take this as well to the success of The Mandalorian and what The Mandalorian did so cleverly. A baby Yoda is a piece of storytelling brilliance.
Mhm.
What is the most valuable thing in the Star Wars universe? A
Baby Yoda.
baby Yoda's species. That was
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
What is the book of Boba Fett missing? A baby Yoda.
Yeah.
So they
Something to
put
care
it back
about?
in there. Yeah, something we cared about. Yeah.
The book of Boba Fett doesn't have anything to care about.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like they realized that at about episode 5, and they said, "Quick,
Yeah.
get Mandalorian and Baby
You're
Yoda."
right,
We're going to
you're
bring
right.
the Mandalorian in to save the series. So
Yeah.
the people, did you like the Book of Boba Fett? Yeah, I liked the whole thing. No, you didn't. You liked
Yeah.
2 episodes of it. And,
That's what you liked.
and the rest of the time you went, what do we do? We still joke about that chase scene. And,
Oh yeah.
And it just baffles me because, I mean, that was directed by Robert Rodriguez, who has done some amazing film work.
He's a very good director. We had Darren Hafford break that down to me, viciously break that down to me.
And you're just going, what happened with that 10-mile-an-hour chase scene?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Back to your movie, Matt. I had a. It seems you enjoyed the process. And do you find yourself? Do you can you not wait for another opportunity to direct a movie? Are we going this route? Like, am I not going to read any more books, Matt? I just want to know.
No, I will be doing more books.
Okay.
I'm halfway through a new book, actually.
Awesome.
Actually, I got a secret book coming out later this year.
Really?
It's coming out in Australia. I haven't got a US publisher for it yet, but then I haven't tried. Macmillan in Australia, really fabulous. My Australian publisher, Pat Macmillan, they just, they indulge me. These strange new things I do, like Hovercar Racer or Troll Mountain or even the tournament. And I wrote a superhero story.
Yes.
And
I was going to ask you that.
And it's a little violent. And we're going to release it later this year. It's a short novel, but it packs a punch. And so, yeah, I enjoyed what I enjoy about the movie, and now having had it finished, it's nice to show it to people now. I mean, I spent 18 months, on a 90-minute piece of entertainment. And I want to show it to people because I know it's just 90 minutes of slam bang, slam the audience against the wall and just show them a good time. So it's like the books. I enjoy giving that joy to people. Mm-hmm. It's just incredibly intensive. So yeah, you can't be sort of writing a novel while you're making a film. You have to do one and then you have to do the other.
I guess that would be a good step away from making novels for a while, make a movie. Then when I'm burnt out from movies, I can go and make a novel. So I guess that's kind of a nice balance you get. You still get to be very creative. So
I think that summarizes it very well. That's exactly right. You burn yourself out making a movie, you recover by writing a novel.
Yeah.
Remember my idol. My idol, it's on the wall there, Jurassic Park. Michael Crichton. Mm-hmm. He was the guy who got me writing books, but he wrote novels. He wrote and directed The Great Train Robbery, the original Westworld movie.
Yep.
TV show ER. He wrote the pilot for that. And obviously he adapted some of his own books into movies. So Michael Crichton was my role model, and if you get to write books and make movies, to me, that's just telling stories, living the dream.
Yeah.
Do you have anything lined up for a next movie, or?
I've got 3 scripts ready.
Wow, great! Is it your scripts, or somebody gave you a script because they liked your work?
They're mine.
They're yours. Awesome.
When you make a movie, and this happened with Interceptor, you have to have all the answers. When your set builder comes to you and says, "What's this look like?" When your costume designer says, "What's this person wearing?" When I write it myself, I have all the answers. I'm not sure I could direct somebody else's script.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so I've written a sequel to Interceptor, and I've got 2 other films which the scripts are ready to go. So I have to wait for Interceptor to come out, and then maybe they'll let me do it again.
Let me get, or maybe, is there one where it's 2 middle-aged guys that have a podcast end up having to save the world? Is it something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. How'd you know? Now, I'll tell you one of them. One of them is a feature script I did adapting my short story, Altitude Rush. And
I haven't read Altitude Rush.
I think it's on my website. It's matthewreilly.com, because I over the years, especially in the 2000s, I got to experiment in short stories. And so I did The Mine, which was an experiment in, Indiana Jones type.
I love The Mine. I read that.
And The
I
Mine is
downloaded it from
there.
Kindle. Yeah.
Yeah, that, and there's Roger Askam short stories for free. Altitude Rush was something I did for it was for a charity book. And it's about two thieves who have to get from one side of New York City to the other, but they're not allowed to touch the ground. So they have to go from rooftop to rooftop. And they're being chased by Navy helicopters and SEALs who want to kill them because the thing they've stolen is this, earth-shattering piece of evidence. And so they swing from cranes, they run across hammerhead cranes. There's one scene where they jump on the roofs of buses because they're not allowed to go below 10 feet or above 1,000 feet.
Ultimate floor is lava game.
Yeah.
It is. It's
that's cool. I didn't think about
I did a
that.
full script of that. So that's one which I'm ready to go on.
So all I heard, Greg, was two guys. That sounds like you and me.
It does, but
Yes.
I would still want Dwayne Johnson to play me. Just
I'll take Ryan Reynolds.
That's okay. They work together now on Netflix, so I'm sure
Yeah.
they're contracted for so many movies.
Yeah.
So when you were working with Elsa, I had this little theory in my head that I kind of talked you into that way because I wanted Chris to be Jack West. Did you slide something his way and like, hey, Chris, why don't you, because I know he executive produced. So were you like, hey man, if you're bored, just put your head on this,
Absorb it.
like that.
He's Chris has read Ice Station.
Did you like it?
And his parents have read my books. So
yeah.
So I got to after we finished our filming, I went and saw him on the set of Thor. So
got to talk to how do you say his name, Greg?
I met Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
He was, as you can imagine, very, very busy at the time. But
Yes.
Chris is dynamite, and Chris was incredibly supportive of Interceptor. I did not sort of try to push any of the books on him at this stage. I think it might be something I have to get to know him a bit better. Here's the reality of the movie that I've just made this movie with Elsa, and it's been fantastic. And so I hope that Chris would think that, his wife has taken a long period out of the movie business. She's jumped into this movie as the lead. Who's the guy directing it? Is he going to make sure it's good? Is he going to make his wife look good?
Yeah.
And that was part of my goal. Part of my goal was, and I said this to Elsa, I said, I'm never going to make you look silly. I'm going to make you look good. It's a Matthew Reilly story, so it's bonkers crazy and action-packed.
Yeah.
But we'll always play it with a straight bat. And so I hope that, Chris is, he's shooting Extraction 2 right now in Europe somewhere, so I haven't spoken to him for a few months, but I'll be talking to him, I imagine, in the next few weeks. And cool. I really hope he goes, hey man, thank you for, making sure my wife's big comeback was good.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Then I'll say you should do Ice Station with me.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you get to do the big like the Hollywood premiere? I mean, are you guys going to the Chinese theater or anything like that for a premiere? Or how's that work out on a Netflix film?
Or are you gonna sneak into a theater somewhere just to see a reaction?
I don't quite know what Netflix do for that. I have been told sometimes they do hold a red carpet at a cinema somewhere in LA. There has been talk about the movie getting a theatrical release in Australia.
Nice.
I'm hoping it'll come out mid-year. I haven't got an exact date yet.
Okay.
But obviously, having delivered it, you'd think Netflix would be pretty keen to get it out. But I can't confirm a release date. But yeah, you hope they at least have a party somewhere to.
Yeah, of course. Something out for you.
Yes, of course. You worked hard. Hey, I want to go back to that. You delivered it to him. Is it like a briefcase? What is it, like a mainframe?
Yeah.
I have a hard time picturing this in my head.
Or is it like a thumb drive here?
Yeah, it's the size of the file. The audio file was like 160 gigabytes, just the audio. So what you do is you end up with 3 video versions of the movie and 3 audio versions. And there's the high definition video with the Dolby Atmos sound. There's the standard definition, which is what most people will watch on their televisions, with the 5.1 surround sound. So if you've got your sound bar, and then you've got a theatrical version, but you've also got stereo sound for those people who watch it on their laptop, computer, or just a basic TV. So what you end up doing is you end up with 3 different files, and you send the 3 files to Netflix, and you say, "There's your movie."
Wow,
that's it. Then it's delivered, and you can't change it.
Are you allowed to, like, hey, thanks?
Are you allowed to have any say on the trailer?
They have sent me a couple of cuts of the trailer already, and it's awesome.
Is it?
And they were very open to suggestions, and you sort of, like I did with going right back to the start, I let the actors act, I let the stunt people do their stunts. They got a trailer company to do a trailer, and they did a really good job. They captured the mood and the tone of Interceptor. So I only had a couple of very cosmetic suggestions where they used one shot. I said, "Oh, you may want to use another shot, which is similar." That was it. No, that's sometimes it's best to get out of people's way. But yeah, I was surprised they actually sought my input in the trailer.
Very cool.
Yeah, which is very nice of them. They don't have to do that, but that's a great way to be artist friendly.
They don't have to do that? I thought they would have to talk to the director. No?
No, especially not when you're a first-time director. God, no.
Yeah, I guess so. I just thought, is that guy in there going, "In a world"? Is he one of those guys?
In our trailer, they don't do that, but they use the voices of the characters in the movie.
That'll work. That'll work. That's
and there is a character with a deep voice like that.
Now the bad guy was also in Hacksaw Ridge. He was the hero that was giving the lead character a hard time. He ended up dying on the hill. Spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen Hacksaw Ridge, but that was him, right?
Yeah. Okay. He's an Australian actor. He's going to be in the Elvis movie. Which is coming out soon. He was in a Netflix romantic comedy called Holiday, which is like a Christmas movie, and apparently every Christmas it does incredibly well. He's absolutely fantastic, brilliant actor, and let's be honest, I'm thrilled that not only was he brilliant, but not all actors want to be villains.
Really?
Yeah. They don't want to be typecast. You may, diehard fans that we all are.
Yeah.
The guy who played Dick Thornburg, the smarmy reporter in Die Hard.
Yes.
People would spit on him on the street.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, he had a pretty good run of pretty good run of guys.
And Ghostbusters too. The first Ghostbusters. And so be careful when you play a villain, because some people think you're actually that person.
Oh, so, I don't know. I would just think plain, I guess if you don't want to get typecasted, that's understandable. But I would think it'd be fun to be a villain. You get to not hold yourself to the hero's code. You can do whatever you want. I would think that'd be more freedom with that.
Yeah. And God love him. He threw himself into it, and he is legitimately scary. And,
cool.
and he believes it. I'm a big believer that your villain has to believe that they're doing something, positive. They are the hero of their own story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whether you're Hans Gruber, Darth Vader, or Hannibal Lecter, you are James Gunn.
The Riddler in the new the Batman.
He
believed what he was doing was good.
A villain has to be a believer in whatever they're trying to do, and Luke really conveyed that in Interceptor, and I think he's genuinely frightening villain, which is what you're after.
Awesome. So you don't have an exact date when Interceptor comes out. Nothing you can give us, or our fan, or your fans, or our people listening,
listeners. Yeah.
I think I could safely say mid-year.
Cool. Yeah. All right, so we're talking summer blockbuster,
summertime action Netflix film.
Very cool. Matthew, we're gonna let you. Greg, you got nothing. Do you have anything you want to?
I think I could go for hours here, but
me too.
maybe not on air. So
maybe we can do it again after the movie comes out.
Absolutely.
Oh, that
We'd
would
love
be
to.
fantastic.
We could do a spoilers version.
That would be awesome. Oh, you could
It's
be
hard
like
to talk about it when no one's seen it. So.
Oh, yes. I would love to do that. I'm going to hold you to it, sir. But we're going to let you go to your, what you got to do after this. Greg, you got anything you want to, and this is deja vu. I've already done this. Sorry. Matt, absolute pleasure.
I got to say, it's so hilarious, Matthew, because Johnny is such a fan of yours that even now he's just starstruck and like tripping over his own words. Like he's never talked to celebrities before, which is hilarious because he gets this way around very few people. So I laugh every time. I'm going to listen to this and just giggle at him the whole time while he's tripping over his words.
I think everybody is.
I got a couple of minutes. Obviously we talked quite a while back, but obviously the One Impossible Labyrinth came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You read that one?
No, I'm on the, here's the problem, Matt. Okay. I don't like the big books. I like these guys, right? Because I can actually put in my pocket and I can walk around with it, right? So I'm waiting for that. That hasn't come out yet. Was listening to an audio version and I didn't do it through Audible. Sorry, folks. I did it through YouTube and they cut the channel on me. And so the last thing I know, Jack just ruined his shot at the fall. And I was like, no, like I searched all YouTube again. Like you got to like, I don't know what's going on anymore. So I'm in the middle of the Two Lost Mountains. I'm in the middle of it. And now I have to actually, I'm going to have to go on Audible to get to that.
It's going to be a while till Labyrinth comes out in a little paperback, but
oh, really?
Dude, I'll send you a hardback, mate. Jump in. It's good.
All right. You know what?
I will. I'm very satisfied with that. That's a very satisfying finish.
So I was going to ask you with that real quick. So Jack West, are there any more Jack West adventures or is that it? Or you can't tell me because there's going to be a spoiler if you tell me.
No, it's the story concludes.
Okay, so no more Jack.
Labyrinth. No, the story concludes.
Okay, all right.
I set out to do a story which encapsulated all the strange ancient places in the world, and I've literally run out.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes,
well,
I'm sure.
Definitely stick to your guns on that because I was thinking about that actually today when I was kind of like thinking through the show here. Part of the thing that we're seeing, like we brought up some of those reboots and things like that, are people like, well, there's still some more story to tell. It's like, no, dude, you killed off the main character or whatever it is. It's like it's done. Just let it lie. Leave us with our good memories, good fond memories of it. We don't need to revisit. And
good point.
As an author, like you're looking at that and like, nope, I told him a story. I'm done. I think that's great.
The last 10 pages of One Impossible Labyrinth are incredibly satisfying to me.
Awesome.
And especially the last page.
I can't wait to
say what I do, but when you read those pages, you'll go, okay, I'm satisfied.
Very cool. I will definitely send you an email letting you know how I liked it. Definitely. Yeah, we're gonna let you go do your thing, Matt.
I do.
So for Greg, you have.
No, we'll just leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that. All right. So everybody, in midsummer, we're guessing Matthew Reilly's Interceptor, first ever directorial debut. It's going to be there. Elsa Pateki. Did I get that right? Good. I don't want Chris coming after me. So good. Pateki or her. She looks like.
I was going to say, you don't want any of this. Yeah. I can see it.
Yeah. For the Greg, this is Johnny saying again, Matthew, thank you. Podcast out, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye.